In today's issue, we're going to explore and explain the mulligan mechanics. Mulliganing is a card game mechanic that allows players to exchange cards in their hands with the cards in their deck. In Magic the Gathering, for example, players mulligan away their whole hands and draw one card less. In Hearthstone, players may mark as many cards as they want from their hands and they will be redrawn. In Gwent, players may choose to redraw up to 3 cards, but it's very important to sequence them correctly due to how Blacklisting and Mulligan work. Blacklisting is a mechanic unique to Gwent, and it prevents players from redrawing cards they have already mulliganed away during the same mulligan. For example, if the first card I choose to redraw is a Foglet, I will not be able to draw another copy during the same mulligan. After a card is redrawn, it's shuffled back into the deck. The deck itself does not shuffle, it is the card that takes a random location within it. With only 10 cards left in the deck, it's pretty likely that the card is going to be put in the top 3 cards of the library. As it can now not be redrawn by the remaining 2 mulligans, it means the mulligan is going to ignore the top card and go for the ones below it. What that means in practice is that there is a 46.7% chance that one of the cards you've mulliganed is the top card of your deck. Furthermore, there's now a 25% chance that the card on the top of your library is the card you've mulliganed first. Same goes for second and third, with 18.8 and 12.5% respectively. In practice, that means that the cards you mulligan away first are cards you would later like to redraw or you're going to summon from your deck in the first round. Cards like Foglet, Crones, Witchers, and other master units. Cards you mulligan away last, you're probably not going to see during the same game, or you're not going to see it until you full it in your deck, so round 2 or 3. So you want to save the last mulligan for cards that are dead in your matchup, or cards you don't want to see until later round. For example, Weather Clears versus decks that run none, and the Meritian Bomb against decks that run no green strength buffs. You could also use it on units that you can easily summon, for example Yavin while holding Elzer's Double Cross. To show it in practice, I'm going to use my monster deck. It's very mulligan dependent as it runs both a full set of Foglets and a full set of Crones. Right off the bat, our mulligan doesn't seem too horrible. We have 2 Foglets in hand, and we have 2 Crones. Now, first we want to blacklist Foglets, as we said, since we're going to summon them with a Fog. Now, unfortunately, we've drawn Crone, which means we're going to be either stuck with a Foglet in hand or with at least 2 Crones. We decide to go and mulligan away the Foglet as we can summon it, and we can mulligan away the Crones during one of the later phases of the game. It appears we have drawn a very similar hand in our second game. We have 1 Foglet that we are going to mulligan away first and redraw, and we have 2 Crones, which is not too horrible unless we repeat the scenario from the first one. Now, we've gotten Caretaker from the first and Catachan from the second, which allows us to mulligan the third one and come up with a pretty decent hand. We have mulliganed away our last Crone, but since we have mulliganed 2 of them, we are most likely going to draw at least 1 of them during the next phases of the game. Now, as you can see, most of the mulligan is pretty self-intuitive. You obviously want to mulligan away cards you don't want in hand. That being said, both mulliganing and blacklisting have very high skill ceiling. It's really easy to make mistake when sequencing and choosing which cards to mulligan away first, which cards you're going to redraw, and playing around with the probabilities of things that's going to happen in the next round. They also have very high impact on deck building. For example, if I chose to run the same deck, but also run the Aretuza combo, Wildhound Navigators, Wildhound Hounds, and Frost, I would have additional units that I would need to mulligan away, making it extremely complicated to get a good hand. If you want to read and learn more about blacklisting, you can check the Gwent website, or you can check the infographics prepared by the Reddit user G. Helpman that I'm going to link in the comments. That brings us to the end of today's issue of Aretuza Journals. I'm going to see you next week when we're going to learn about resources and how to manage them properly.